good record for City. What does this mean? What does this record mean for City? What does this mean for Arsenal? What does this mean for the English Premier League? As the league has come to an end. What else are we expecting in terms of football? We'll learn about it later today when Fabrice joins us on the show.
Sikhuluma ngemabhizinisi joint achievements Eswatini kulempela somvo held the inaugural JA Alumni Startup Awards in partnership with the Taiwan Embassy. These awards recognize and also celebrate outstanding young entrepreneurs who have successfully launched and grown their businesses after participating in Inhlelweni Etaka JA, the in-school and out-of-school entrepreneurship programs. The awards had 15 categories which had different prizes sponsored by partners, one of which is a trip to Portugal to attend the JA Worldwide Alumni Summit. In the studio Lomhla Sitabe Esina, two of these winners being Lindu Musa Dlamini, who won a Best Alumni of the Year award, and Samgelisiwe Matsebula, who scooped the Customer-Centric Award. I want to talk to them about the significant influence JA has had on their life and their businesses, sive nangema achievements kanye and challenges at Ngapani Dabo. They'll be joining us at 6:30 lamhlanje. Kumanje sibuke nathi lethamba imbili kumaphephandzaba. Times of Eswatini Lomuhla on a Monday, Mbonzela farm dispute, armed guard kidnapped. He left with a rifle to fetch livestock, and he did not return. Residents say they heard gunshots. Colleagues noticed his shoe prints, 3 other different prints during a search. And King Victoria's in fishing experience. This happened at Taipei, Taiwan, it's shocking. Some think I've been dumped. Ex-DPM. And in other news, woman must pay ex-hubby 30K. Admits child is not his. And in other news, Bishop Lukele extortion attempt. Suspect wanted.
It's a dramatic end to the yellow season. Njengoba ke Manzini Wanderers has been relegated. Kodwa kune question let's but now some of the sub-headlines there which speaks to Wesleyan's protest over relegated Sundowns duo. Nyanga blames it on management interference. Champs Mbabane Swallows sign off in style. And again, from the international front, Manchester City outgun Arsenal to win the English Premier League.
Eswatini Observer lamuhla, a man has been arrested for rape of 3 girls. Alleged to have offered girls cash to lure them. Girls allege he would rape them consecutively. Now the news, King makes a big catch. His Majesty King Tatu III concentrating as he watches his fish line during his shrimp fishing expedition in Taipei yesterday. 1.2 million emalangeni annual salary for Liqoqo Lutitini chairs, and another woman arrested for false rape claim.
Kutemidlalo, darkness engulfs Manzini as Wanderers. Denver have been relegated. Game was played under protest by Wanderers. And we got another one champion, birds and season on a high. That is Mbabane Swallows being pictured there on that photo, celebrating their championship, presented with that 1 million emalangeni check. With the Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Bongani Nzima.
As for Eswatini Daily News, leading headlines, Taiwan's president-elect appeals for international support. In other news, SA police on high alert amid social unrest warning. And Eswatini Mobile, EMI painting Hlangano red and blue.
It's wonderful history books rewritten as fervently supported Hub Giants. Manzini Wanderers relegated after a 1-2 thrashing by Denver Sundowns, who have also been relegated to the National First Division. Swallows proved to be worthy league champions with a 3-1 win over Young Buffaloes on the final day of the season. Bishop pledges to continue supporting birds. And on the international front, Premier League champions 4 in a row, that is Manchester City.
7 minutes after 6, it is tipesa lapho lethamba imbili kumaphepha ndzaba. Let's take a break nasibuya sibuka tindzaba tala ekhaya.
I'm a very, 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 very happy customer.
I know.
Imali yebhizinisi ayidliwa wayidla utobulala phansi.
Hayi ngimsebenzi yethu lesiyendako la ekhaya njengoba niyibona lilihle nakangaka.
Ngiyagolosha, which is crocheting.
Ngiyakhicita ke noko kakhulu emsebenzini wethu ikhumba.
Ngiyenda kwegaba emacici nekwegaba entsangeni.
Ngilungisa emagedlela.
Hello, how are you? We are selling peanuts at 5. Thank you so much. Umdala kubusi. Find the strat, babe.
Siphinza sinamukela ehlelweni Maswati lamahle sithokotele nathi itindzaba tesiswati. Ingwenyama seyiphakanyiswe njengemholi loGwazene waphuma embili emidlalweni wekudveba tinhlanti teluhlobo lolukhetsekile eTaiwan. Sike lokhu kwenteke ngesikhathi lotawutsatsa kuba ngumengameli welive leTaiwan Dr. Lai Ching-te. Ente labaholi labamenywe emcimbini wekubekwa kwakhe umcimbi wekubahlanganisa kwekuthi badlale lo mdlalo. Kanti lo mdlalo udlalwe nangulatawutsatsa kuba lisekela lamengameli Isayo B. Kim. Kanti ingwenyama beyisingethwe indvuna yetangephandle umhlonishwa Pholile Shakhantu.
Ngofika kwengwenyama eTaiwan kulethe injabulo lenkhulu eMeswatini latsechithisa kave lonke ngekutawucinisa tinhlelo letititselo tekubambisana kwelive leSwatini nayo iTaiwan. Sive sengwenyama lesitinde kulelive sisuke emadolobheni lehlukahlukene lasedute nakhashane semukela ingwenyama ngekujabula lokukhulu. Ingwenyama ibese seyivele seyingenela imisebenzi khona eTaiwan. Lotawutsatsa kuba ngumengameli Dr. Lai Ching-te umeme ingwenyama nalabanye baholi labamenywe emcimbini wekubekwa kwakhe emsebentini wekubajabulisa nekubahlanganisa njeke baholi kusalungiselelwa umcimbi lomkhulu ngemsombuluko. Baholi badvwebe tinhlanti teluhlobo lolukhetsekile lwe-shrimp bakhangula umdlalo wekudvweba tinhlanti i-shrimp fishing. Lonxusele elivele eSwatini khona eTaiwan Ambassador Promise Msibi ukuthi lo msebenzi lobusiswe ingwenyama ulisiko lelibalulekile eTaiwan.
Ingwenyama imenywe ngilo mengameli lotawuthatha lotawufunga kusasa. Wamema ke na bonke baholi labakhona le bangetulu kwelishumi labakhona njengoba esikhuluma nje. Sengikhulumela abaholi tivakashi ke letithunyelwe ngemave leti sitigabeni leti ngaphansi kwebaholi tingetulu kwa20 letifaka phakathi tivakashi letinkulu letibuye eAmerica letibuye eNgilandi letibuye kubo France nawo onke nje emave ladlelana nabo bala ekhaya lengingasho ukuthi inhlangano ye-EU yonke ikhona la tinhlangano letinenge nato tikhona labo World Trade Organization bakhona la lokwenteke kakonyalo kube njengomsebenzi wekujabulisa labaholi ukuthi bahambe bayohlanganyela naye emengameli emfuleni la kutabe kubukwa khona tindzaba ukuthi ngibani longakhona kunyomula tifish letitsite kulisiko ke labo la lebalendabo uma kunemsebenzi lenjengale indzaba yemasiko ke kuma kukhulunywa ngelive leTaiwan indzaba lenkulu kakhulu bangakwenda lokunye kodwa hayi emasikweni abo so ke lokwentiwa konjenganyalo kungiletinye timiso talemihambo nemasiko abo so ke bakangwane nabo batsite abayohlanganyela naye wekunene lesethemba ukuthi umsebenzi utawuhamba kahle.
Ngekubona abaholi sihlangene lotawuthatha kuba ngumengameli ube sesawubona kukuhle ukuthi ake sekubonakala umholi lotawuphuma letinhlanti letinyendi naleto letibonakala ukuthi tisesigabeni nembala ke baholi bavele bachubeka nemsebenzi ekugcineni kwakhanya ukuthi ingonyama kube ngiyo lephuma ngemalengiso.
The winner is majority king Eswatini. Eswatini the third.
Once again, congratulations to our medalists.
Kudawuthi ngemsombuluko ingonyama ibe semcimbini wekubekwa kwakhe emengameli. Lubika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile Makhanya eTaiwan.
Litiko leti-70 tembuso selibuthe imali lecishe ibe sigidi semalangeni leti-17 tembuso letatfola imali yemfundzate kanye naleto letayitfola ngalokungekho emtsetfweni. Angike lokhu kuvetwe ngumabhalane lomkhulu kuleli tiko Sipho Tsabedze ngesikhathi leli tiko livele embi kwelibandla lelibuke kusebenziswa kwemali yahulumende iPAC ePhalamende. Leli bandla belitsingitsa lokuvela embikweni wemcwaningi mabhuku lomkhulu wahulumende kunembiko.
Lenye yetindzaba letisukumiswe ngusihlalo welikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwemali yembuso umhlonishwa Madala Mhlanga nguleyo lekuparagraph 81 wembiko wemcwaningi mabhuku wahulumende kanti ikhuluma ngemali yembuso leyaniketwa tisebenti tahulumende lengumfundzate.
Kuyabonakala ukuthi kunaletinto lebeti irregular like kunika umuntu lesinye scholarship angaphelele 2 years ukuthi seya-addresseka noma ukweleka ngala ukhanze silemva solo kuyavuta maybe by means of a memo ukuthi from this day ngekusendeka lokho.
Emalunga aleli komiti nawo aphose imibuto kuleli tiko.
Kulaba labaye ukhanze ukuthi bayasicela le scholarship le-70 tembuso bese tiya-resigna tiyahamba. Nibambisana njana lalamanye amatiko ukuthi ti-recover-ke leto timali leto.
Uneng lokungendiwa gcwaliswa nalama forms ukhona lokubukile lokho letiko uma ngabe ke bugangeka kwendeka nje usuka yephi lo kunene.
Mabhalane omkhulu kuleli tiko Sipho Tsabedze ubese uyaphendula.
Usuke vele ngakasebenteki kahle nangabe ema policies ahulumende akalandzeleki. Loyo officer vele uyanikwa uyakhulunyiswa nakubita ukuthi anikwe leso jeso lesifanele aniketwe ngoba vele kusuke konakele ngakahambi kahle. Iyachubeka ke litiko njoba kunelithebula nje bahlonishwa balibonako la liyachubeka kuyirecover le mali litiko kulawo ma officials lokwabonaka ukukala ukuthi lestegari ngasendekanga iyehla nje kusho nyalo about 66% yalo mali leyo seyirecoviwe loku 843,308 emalangeni 1 cent.
Mabhalane lomkhulu uphinze wabikela leli komiti ukuthi labo lababamba tidzinzi ekubhadaleni le mali sebathathelwe tinyathelo temthetho. Etindzabeni ngombongo Dube eMbabane.
Bafundisi lababulewe babekwa ingonyama emabandleni lehlukene bathi batawusebentela live bahambise ngulungulu embili ngaso sonke isikhathi emsebentini labaniketwe wona. Labafundisi labaxoxisene nalo msakato bathi beswela emagama ekudibongela.
Bayethona phakathi ngezintathu. Ngiyambonga uNkulunkulu ngekuthi emakhosi angethembe ukuthi nakulomnyaka ngingaba khona empilweni tabo nabo babe khona empilweni yami. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Ngiyambonga kakhulu uNkulunkulu vele ngimethembile lokuthi utangisita ngisasebenza nemakhosi utangisita nami ngidimisele kuwathobele. Kwendlula lapho bevele ngiwathandazela emakhosi kodwa ke nasa uthandaza ulangekhathi bese kuba lula kakhulu.
Kukhutha lwandle enkosini emhlaba kanye nasendlovini emhlaba. Ngithi ngitela maningi amagama lengawakhuluma kungabe kubonga uNkulunkulu kanye netithunywa naNkulunkulu wemakhosi la hleli abuka ukuthi singamthatha lona simende lutho kungabe kubonga kakhulu umsakato egameni lenkosi. NaliBhayibheli lithi uNkulunkulu uyakuthatha lokulide akuhlalise nemakhosi. Esikhathini lesiningi kuletinkinga letingivelele noma ke kulama challenge la ngivelele ungathi bantu bebangafuna uNkulunkulu ngeliqiniso. Konke lesikwendako sihambise yena phambili ngoba nasitawuhambisa yena phambili nguye lo tawusinika lendlela kodwa nasitawufuna kutendela thina ngewethu emandla kuthi abamnyama la siyakhona.
Live la uNkulunkulu lithi uNkulunkulu uyabeka aphinda asuse. uNkulunkulu lobeka kophinda asuse. Ngisemangele kakhulu kungaba kubonga nje uNkulunkulu sekhuze sekhude lwandle sekhude libayethe.
Umphathi wemnyango wekucondzisa timilo lamakhosini Dlamini uthi kunesidingo sokuthi live ngekubanjiswa tinhlangano letidimele liqinise tinhlelo letawunaka ukukhula nekuphatha kwemfana longumfana. Dlamini bekakhuluma ngesikhathi inhlangano yakakwakha indvodza ifundzisa abafunzi basevula amasango ngetingoni letahlukene tekukhula.
Inhlangano kwakha indvodza ihlanganise bantfwana laba abafana labafundza esikolweni semnyango wekucondzisa timilo His Majesty's Correctional Services evula amasango kubafundisa ngetingoni tekukhula kude banake netindvo lokumele batigweme basakhula. Labafunzi bebangenela umhlangano ngilabo labafundisa labanye ngetingoni tekukhula phecelezi peer educators kanzi umphathi wemnyango wekucondzisa timilo lamakhosini Dlamini lebekamelwe nguDumsani Dlamini uthi timcoka letinhlelo letinjengaleti ekukhuleni kwemfana longumfana.
Siyajabula kakhulu ukuthi kwesuka lamuhla sibe nebantwana labagraduate kule program yakwakha indvodza ngoba ku society lesiphila kiyo lokungathi kuyashoda kulamalanga ukhuliseka kwemfana longumfana. Yet umfana longumfana umqoka kakhulu ngoba ngubabe wakusasa. Live laphile nje lakhe ngabobabe sisendlulise amagama ekubonga kakhulu. Lesikunotisile ukuthi umfana loyintombazana kumele ngathi uthole amathuba lamaningi lamalanga. But ke siyajabula namuhla lokuthi kwakha indvodza usemphawulishele labantwana lokusive semaswati sakusasa.
Loluleka ngengcomvo kulomnyango uthi letifundo tawudlala indima lenkulu kulabafunzi.
Leli lithuba lelihle lesilithokotele kakhulu singu rehabilitation HMCS neku-empowerisha abantwana bethu labancane as peer educators. Kuyasisita ke kakhulu nathi ngoba phinze babe indlela yethu neliso lethu sisenda lo msebenzi wethu wa rehabilitation.
Lebekaniketa tifundo lochamuka enhlanganweni yekwakha indvodza uthi letifundo tawusita kulwa netindzaba tekuhlukubetana ngetebulili lapha eveni.
Sikhuluma ngabo gender based violence sekune crisis and in most cases ama-perpetrators bobabe nemajaha kanjalo nasetindzabeni tebucala mawuthiwabuka majaha agcwele kakhulu endzabeni tabo drug and substance abuse majaha agcwele kakhulu So sengikwakha imvutsa zamathi sinikete lamatsha information lengiyo ukuze sibatawukhona sibathathe ama decisions la informed.
Mhla kuhlangene ngelanga lakamhlaba lebafana ligujwa njalo mhla ka-16 enyangeni yeNgwegwedi ukhuthathe amave kuthi anakete impilo nenhlala kahle ebantfana laba bafana. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Samkelisiwe Khoza kanti ifombe echamke emnyango econisa timilo.
Hulumende we-Taiwan sewuceceshe bodokotela labangemashumi nemfica 89 lese bavele bacalile kusita sive kanzi ke dokotela siphelele Mavuso uthi eMaswati lasitakele kulolu hlelo lwekupopola nekuniketa imithi mahala akakhoni kunatha emaphilisi kahle ngesizathu sokuthi abayitholi noma ke abawatholi lamaphilisi labawathingako ngelizinga lelibhekekile. Mavuso bekakhuluma ngesikhathi le-Taiwan lisita sive mahala enkundleni yakaZombotse emuva.
Sive lesitfolela usito lwetempilo sibe ngetulu kwa 500 enkundleni yakaZombotse emuva. Le-Taiwan aligcini ngekusita ngetempilo kuphela kepha liphindze liceceshe eMaswati lajinge asite sona sive. Dokotela Siphelele Mavuso lofundzele ebudokotela eTaiwan ubongele litfuba labanikwe lona waseke uyaveta tinkinga labatibonile. Wase uyaveta tinkinga tetempilo sive lesibhekene nato lesitibikile namuhla.
Kuneng eMaswati lakutsinile lapho angasitakali khona especially kulama specialist mancane lesinawo evandla laseSwatini. Ngisehleti nje ngisabona patients ngiyabona ukuthi labanye bayafika bayasho ukuthi banatha imithi ethile ukhanze ukuthi abasayinathi sekuphele iminyaka labanye bangayinathi bakhala ngekuthi baya esibhedlela bangatholi bese ukhanze ukuthi bedinale mali yekuthenga and mina ngiva ngithokoza kakhulu ukuthi sidile sabantu baniketa lisito labanenge bahambe bajabulile ngelisito lesibanikete lona lamuhla.
Dokotela Shing Neng Chuang uthi inhloso lenkulu ukuthi ke eMaswati atfole lisito lesizingeni lelisetulu.
We are doing neurosurgery, arthroplasty, arthroscopic surgery and the prostate surgery here. So before Taiwan Medical Mission here, all the patients to undergo this kind of operation, Palala Fund is send the patients to the South Africa and then spend too many money. And then now Palala Fund is also can save the money.
Lilunga lePhalamende lenkundla yakaZombotse emuva Ntando Yenkosi Mkhonda lithi lesive sihamba libanga lelitse kude sitfole lusito lwetempilo.
Bevele kunesikhebe silesikhulu nawubuka ukuthi nawusuka la nje uya nalemtholampilo la unelithemba ukuthi utawufika uthole khona impilo ujika ungakayitholi ngoma ukhanza bede lamaphilisi kanye naleyo mithi ledzingwe ngilesive. So namhlanje sibonga asikhawuli even leTaiwan.
Sive sendlulise kubonga imithi kudla kanye netimpahla tekwembatha letifutfumele.
Ngisipile vele kakhulu. Basenjele sibasibhanisela nango-rice.
Kanilana nabo sithola mahala sijabulela kakhulu.
Lusito sive lesilitfolile sifaka ekhatsi kupopola bomdlavuza. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni ngiseqinisweni enhlangano.
Emadolobha angalilekelela live ngokuthi libe nekuphumelela liphinzela indlondlobale kutemnotho temabhizinisi kanye netenhlala kahle esive. Yingci nje uma angabeka tonke tinhlelo tawo kumdali njengoba ke kuphumelelisa kungekwakhe. Lokhu kushiwo ngumeya walelidolobha lakaManzini Goodwill Dlamini ngesikhathi lelidolobha libambe umthandazo wesondlo sasekuseni.
Alunyawo emakhosini alelive lokubeka konke kumdali lidolobha lakaManzini lihlanganyele nemabandla bebhizinisi emaphoyisa nalabanye kulomthandazo lapho bameme khona simenywa lesichamuka Evan deMelika umpostoli Prega Golden. Meya walelidolobha uyachaza
inhloso yabo lenkulu kuhlephula livengeli laKristu kuphela nekuthandazela emadolobha. Ufika Eswatini ngekuthanza live lengwenyama. Bekakhona ngelisuku lokugujwa kwenkosi eMangayane emcimbini khona wathi vele enhlitshweni yakhe ukuthi awu le nkosi lekuthanza abantu kangaka lephinze ithanza ukuthi kube nekuthula nempumelelo yelive angifike la Eswatini ngicele umnyango ukuthi sengente umthandazo kulelinye lemadolobha lakaManzini sithi sesibuthanise bonke bakaManzini ikakhulu bafundisi laba kuleli dolobha kuze ukuthi sinike le dolobha esandleni sasimakathe kude kube nempumelelo iprosperity yedolobha nekuthula kwedolobha ipeace yedolobha.
Umpostoli Prega Gordon wenhlangano i-American African Asian Apostolic Alliance uthi uma emave emhlaba ngabeka embili umthandazo kuko konke lakakwentako njengeleswatini sitha singancotshwa.
Every country has got a territorial spirit over it. Daniel 10 says, the angel said, I was coming down, but the prince of Persia held me back. I had a warfare going on. In order to break the power of the territorial spirit, you got to identify it.
Umbishop Zakaria Mthethwa uthi libandla linenzima lenkulu ekuqinisekiseni ukuthi liveli yasimama kuto tonke tinhlangothi.
Jeremiah 29 verse number 7 uthi hambani niyofuna ukuthula nempumelelo yelidolobha lenginithumbelekilo. Uma idolobha liphumelela nani niyawuphumelela. So libandla umsebenzi walo ukuthi malifika edolobheni lifune ukuthula nempumelelo. Ngamagama impumelelo nokuthula kwelidolobha akho kumasipala phese kulapha ebandleni.
Njengoba lo mthandazo bowubanjwa kwekucala ngca kuleli dolobha, Meya Godwill Dlamini uthi sewutawubanjwa njalo nakungena uhulumende lomusha ehhovisi. Etindzabeni ngumbongwa Dube kaManzini.
Kutemidlalo licembu leManzini Wanderers kanye neDenver Sundowns sekadliwe inkemba yekuyawudlala ka-First Division eminyakeni lotako webhola. Anzike iWanderers kwekucala emlandweni kuthi iyawudlala ka-First Division.
La maqembu lamabili ete adzinga imithandazo mabili ukuthi licembu leMonen Perez likhale phasi ngadlala nelicembu leEzulwini United bese wona alwela kunqoba lo mdlalo. Kulo mdlalo licembu leDenver Sundowns ngilo lelibonakala ngathi liwe ufuna lo mdlalo njengoba lithole amagoli lamabili esigabeni sekucala lashaywe ino kanye naTony kanzi Mlamuli Nkambulu uthole linye leManzini Wanderers kwaye ekhefini hamba embili iDenver Sundowns ngamagoli amabili kulinye. Esigabeni sesibili iphindze yabuya yona iDenver Sundowns ethola lamabili nawo lashaywe ino kanye naTony kanzi Mlamuli Nkambulu naye uphindze wabuya wathola lesibili leManzini Wanderers. Umdlalo waphela inqobela iDenver ngamagoli lamane kulamabili lokwende ukuthi lamaqembu lamabili adliwe inkemba njengoba iMonen Pirates idlala ngekulingana nelicembu leEzulwini United eligoli linye kulinye. Inyanga yezizwe ehlophe lokucicisha iManzini Wanderers uthi kude nakancane latsola khona njengoba tinkinga letikhona kuleli cembu tingetulu kwemandla akhe lokufaka ikhathi kuthi uhle akhethelwa abadlali lekumele aqale ngabo.
Steve settlement mina njengoNonti ngalamanye amagama coach part of letinkinga kube kuthi bohlunga khona ukutisethela scheme sabo
hayi ukuthi part of lesi nje liyakuzo vele bangena basho labakusho but inkinga yami yoko ukuthi ngiyavuma nawo iparticipate skill ngake ngasebendeliswa vita akhuluma ngeskill ke pabe yalithi mina ube lamalanga but lokho ukuthi awukho ejimini kunebadlali lapha beningabasha akethe ejimini kwathi ubonakala iyadlala utawukusingile vele tonke mara.
Musa Manyatsi weDenver Sundowns ngemuva kwalomdlalo ubeke kanjena.
Kuyilimata kakhulu that is ibrand ya Sundowns. Nasikhuluma nje nga chairman ube Sundowns for 15 years ika Premier League na ithatha ka First Division. So wilimata kakhulu because I think bese letha stability ekuyithimi ya kaManzini kule league lesidlala ku.
Kanzi licembu leMbabane Swallows leselivele liboshampeni bayo indzebe ye-M10 Premier League libe selihlonyiswa ngayo indzebe ye-M10 Premier League ngemuva komdlalo wabo nelicembu le-Young Buffaloes lapho khona linqobile ngamagoli 3 kulinye lapho khona lithole nelisheke lemali lengu-1 million emalangeni. Licembu leMbabane Swallows seliyomelela live emidlalweni ye-CAF Champions League kusizini letako yebhola. Lobikela umsakazi Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini namfana futhi Bhembe kalobamba.
Siphetha kanjalo ndzaba desiswati sibahlola emarket masibuya fombeni xoxisana nalabagwazene kuma Junior Achievement Awards.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Eswatini National Petroleum Company proudly presents to you the Monday edition of Market View, where business news are reported and analyzed by a cast of experts and correspondents to deliver unrivaled facts and figures from the business world. Catch this edition every Monday at 2 p.m. brought to you by Eswatini National Petroleum Company.
Welcome back. Sagusela Nalo Sanzago Vulela. Over the weekend, Junior Achievement held the inaugural JA Alumni Startup Awards in partnership with the Taiwan Embassy. These awards recognize and also celebrate outstanding young entrepreneurs who have successfully launched and grown their businesses after participating in JA's in-school and out-of-school entrepreneurship programs. Lama awards abene categories lang 15, which are different prizes sponsored by Emma partners, one of which is a trip to Portugal to attend the JA Worldwide Alumni Summit. Sometimes today I'll be joined by Mawinas Laitu, Legunlindu Musa Dlamini, Ganye, Nasamgelsiwe Masebula, Guvagabandi njengama business abo, ima challenges kanye nama successes elesebabena now, and also the influence JA has had on their life and their businesses. Kungmanje sakhulumisana na Lindu Musa, who scooped the Best Alumni Award yena nenkampani yakhe. Sikuvusela Nkosi Saba Ngusubena Nsile mhla ekseni. Kumenje firstly nje kuvuka ukuthi as a young person wena yini le yakwenda kususukume ufuna kungenela ma programs a JA, ufuna kwathi kabantu ngebusiness uphindze futhi nicala ebusiness yenu noma ke inkampani yenu?
Yes, vusele kakhulu ninjani sisi. Siyabonga kakhulu ekufola lelifuba. Okay. Ngilinda Musa ngakadlamini, ngiswa ka Smiling True Farming and Supplies. Ngilinda Musa nje lo wangenda ukuthi ile kakhulu ngifise kungenela inhlelo taka JA kwaba nje kuthi le bayimarket kahle esikolweni. Okay, ngayingenela ngisase esikolweni ngisafunza eSwazini National High School ka form 4 na ka form 5 nga 2016 yak 2017. Basikhuthatha ukuthi le JA utasita kuba ne kufunza ngebusiness sangena ke kwa incubator le kuba ngisoma business sathi lese sesicethile ke esikolweni saqhubeka sabana lenshisekelo ekufuna ukuqhubeka sende ibusiness sabise ke sisiyaqala ke Smiling True Farming and Supplies nga 2013 uqala e-University of Swaziland faculty of agriculture uqalwa abamfula bang 7 asachubeka ke Smiling Through asakhula kusukela nga-2013 nje kulomnyaka ophelile bese celebrate 10 years wethu shothi kulomnyaka sesina 11 years waqala Smiling Through. Smiling Through endani ke? Smiling Through is a farming business. Sathi le masibuka sathi yathi mani bamfude babuka kulima ngathi le yimvo lephasi, babuka ngathi le nje mangathi le ngiyabuka ukuthi bangakhi abantu abathanza kulima, tathi hayi ngakwenda kakhulu ngisasekhaya. Sabise-ke thina sesithi hayi asicommercialize lokulima, sabise sesilima kanjalo ke kusuka ngaleso sikhathi leso salima kwakhanzaka ukuthi lena lesisekelo sesinaso ngekusidwa nguye JA.
Yeah, kume nje umflomotional office nje kulandzela itinyathelo tenu kube kanjani nje the journey nje umshito ukuthi celebrate over 10 years nje solona cala ibusiness yenu, kube kanjani mhlambe tinkinga lenhlangabezene nato ma successes nama achievements ibe kanjani nje vele nje yonke le journey uzonifikela khona khona?
Okay, hayi le journey akusile melula, but ile lokumcoka ukuthi ile wathi ukuthi ufunani wena. Mawati ukuthi le yini ofuna kuyi-achieve noma ungaba nema-challenge langakanani utawuchubeka uzame kuya embini. Kunenge ema-challenges lesidibane nawo. Njengoba ngisho we are in farming, i-challenge ekucala lesabanayo sisaqala le journey yekulima. Sakhanza ukuthi lesisafuna indzawo yekulima kwaba isikhathi lesithe ukufuna ikakhulu phela njenyalo we are in a 30 hectare farm. Kuyifola lendzawo le kwathatha isikhathi lesithe kakhulu ukuthi umuntu angakuthemba ngemhlaba wakhe utawuthile unani because kude equatorial lonayo. But ile sachubeka ngalokuthi besathi ukuthi sifuna sachubeka safuna indzawo ezesayithola. Lenye challenge is working capital. Kulikhuni kufola imali umuntu lomusha noma ungayibhange kutaba likhuni kufola imali ngalokuthi le kude umuntu otakuthemba ukuthi le wena khona lo ngabambisa ngako kude. But ile sachubeka because ile besinale nshisekelo ukuthi le sifuna ukuchubeka siye embini. Ema success stories ke efu nje kufaka ekhathi le ukuthi le nawo phela siwinile JA sawina ama category lang 4. That is a success story because ile kuthenjwa nje kubona senyalo senginemphumela ukuthi le nawo labamfu bachubekile. We stayed in test of time ukuthi le sichubekile ezisikhathi sisahamba sachubeka sabonakala ukuthi hayi we are business minded, we are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, speaking of njela categories enweni wine best JA alumni of the year, highest profits, JA best agripreneur, first place record keeping. Nikwende kanjani lokho? Kukhona nivele mhlambe lokho kusebenzisana as inkampani i-teamwork nifike kanjani nje ukuthi nikhone kuwina loyo 4 categories?
Okay. Nje ngiyajabula kakhulu mawuthi teamwork. Kulama category nje lang 4 ngidawuthanda ukucacisa noma ukucacisa ukuthi le lama category lang 4 bekamelwe bamfu labang 3. That show teamwork ukuthi le bekungasiye ukuthi le lama category emumvu munye. Besiya ngekuthi le ukuyiphi department. Just for example nje kule agripreneur of the year, our production manager was the one who represented us kule agripreneur wakhona kuwina. And then our MD Mr. Gcina Dlamini nguye lobise soyasimelela ke highest profit ne best alumni of the year. Ngabise mina Lindumusa Dlamini ngamelela ngale ku best record keeping because I'm on the finance side. Kuyakhombakalisa ukuthi le sibambisene njenge team ongemuva hamba wayomelela lapho khona agudi ngakhona.
Yeah. How do you feel nje about the trip kuya ePortugal yongenela Alumni Awards, Summit Awards nakhona lokuthi nje nabe representa Eswatini ingabe yini ibhekile ukuthi mhlambe nidayifunza khona le embili?
We are very excited ukuthi le sidahamba siye Taiwan. Lokumcoka kakhulu nje usase businessini ukuthi le ube learnable. Sidawufika lembili sifunze letinye indlela tabo soma business ukuthi le benda njani baqhubekele embili because ile mawungisoma business uhlale encounter ama challenges each and every day. Masifika ePortugal dawukhanza labanye ebosoma business bafike bakhombakalise ukuthi le how do we do this bizosofola indlela letimelula ekusolve ama problems akho.
Yeah, ingabe nje mhlambe ukugcina advice nje longayiniketa aspiring youth nabo labafisa ukutibona banguwe ngekhamba kwesikhathi ingabe ungabakhuthata ukuthi bathini nje ngadoda ema business?
Nengabakhuthata kona nje ukuthi le abaqhubeke batimisele akusiyemelula but ekugcineni kwako konke the reward is very nice masovuna kumnanzi kakhulu ulungele nje ku sacrifice everything ephinze ulungele kufunza be willing to learn, to relearn and unlearn.
Yeah, so le experience nje kuba kuma awards nalokuthi nje mhlawumbe bekanjani nje usichazele ukuthi nabasola bamemeta inkampani yini basola bamemeta inkampani ukuthi ngiyole hambe embili bekanjani nje le experience le.
That is a great feeling ever. Nje kancane kancane nje yonke category lo ayingenela uyayiwina. Njengoba nje thine zangenela lo 4 ema categories. Sakhona kwawina onke. That was a great feeling ever. Ukuthi le nje uyabitwa ku onke ama category lo angeneni.
Okay, no, sibonga kakhulu. Thank you so much, Lindumusa. Bese bekunLindumusa ke leyo lo nenkampani Agri Farming. They scooped 4 wema awards emcimbini wema startup alumni JA awards labanjwe kulempela somfuna sibe ematiti market sisabe sikhulumisana nasamkelisiwe Mathebula naye lo thole indondo.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#, or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
It's 15 minutes before 7 o'clock. I'm joined by Samgelisiwe Mathebula yanake lo win customer centric category emcimbini wama-JA Alumni Startup Awards. Because nje kukhulumisana na Lindumusa labathole Best Alumni of the Year. Sikuvusele Samu. Thank you for joining us namhla ekseni. Sifuna kuva nje before we get into mhlambe the award ceremony kuva ngenkampani yakho business yakho ukuthi ufike kanjani vele la ukhona nokuthi yini lena leyakhuthaza ukuthi usukume ufise ukuba ingcenye ama-JA programs.
Thank you so much mama. Siphinze sinivusele nasemakhaya. Okay mina JA angimcalanga esikolweni ngeva ngaye sengicethile esikolweni beside esikolweni. So ngeva ngaye nakhona after COVID 2021 because bese sekhaya mina nje beng depressed bengiphelelwe bengakhona ngiqhubeka ngibhadala esikolweni because during COVID ngabe sesengiyamiswa esikolweni ngingasakhona ukubhadala since umsebenzi bese kaphelile. So bengimumuntu okay bengithanda ibhizinisi ngisakhula but bengingacabanga ukuthi ibhizinisi ngiloku bese sobhala abo business plan ube nabo mentor nje all that. So after ngibone le post ya JA online ngathi sengiya apply ngifuna kwathi nga JA nje ukuthi uyini because ngibona ku involve abantu labasha. Ngathi mang apply ke bathi sebasibita for training basibuta ukuthi yini lo ngafisa kuba nayo basibuta ama business ngathi ngiyidi business but ngiyafisa kuba ne business. So like ufikela kahle khona ke lana sakusithi thina e business yakho ecale bang trainer ke IDM sacetha ku trainer then bathi asihambe siyobhala business plan because bese sinalo lolwadi. Sahamba ke saqala ngayibhala business plan ngayisubmita and then we applied for a state grant ngawina ngaba top one of lama top 5 akhona. So yaseke seyaqala ibusiness yami yaqala ngema perfume bengendela labo laba nema sinuses because ukhanze ukuthi umuntu akakhona ukusebenzisa iperfume because iba strong. Ngathi ke sengithi angiqale ngawo and then as isikhathi sihamba sichubeka baba basolo bangmentorisha baka JA baba like phela kumele salokhule ebhizinisini ungaklali emveninya ngase ke sengiyaqala ke sengiproducer ema organic cosmetics for all skin types.
Oh, okay. So how's that going? Hamba kanjani business yakho? Because that look ukuthi ebhizinisini there are ups and downs, challenges here and there. Ingabe ibe kanjani wena ijourney yakho?
Okay, mangicala it wasn't easy. Akusiko lula vele nje ukuqala business especially mangumuntu lomusha. Because there was a time la bengimele sale ngiregister khona sale nje ngiba inkampani and then kwaba nema challenges lamaningi kangaka umnyaka wonke besolo ngakhona ukuregister because bakuthi uthi uyamikisa leligama bathi hayi leligama lakho all reserve leligama mase uthi uyolibhalisela bakutshela ukuthi ish sekunedinkinga ngaleligama lakho. So bekunala ma challenges lawo but phinze kwabuya yena JA futhi wadongirescueisha khona lapho wangikhona kungiregister sisa asa register sasimacetha ke register kwamele sale ngifuna abo trading license. Another thing lebenginayo bengakhona ukuthola space since sathi ukuthi kaManzini ema office akhona ayadula kanti nesesebamfla abasha labasakhula so bekunaloko ukuthi angikhona ukuthola le space bambato khona kungithola bengisolo ngisebenzela endlini but ke ngagcina sengisitholile space eCaritas kaManzini la sisebenzela khona nyalo bakhona ke futhi ngaphinze ngafuna another funding phinze ngokuthi sale kuboosteka lena lewe ngivele ngitholile itokhula le business namhlanje ngikhuluma we have 7 products leswakhako from scratch including your body wash your roll on sikwakhela nje everything organic.
Okay, so where do you get nje le information the knowledge ukuthi udakha kanjani etimvo leti kumbe ngabe nakhona khona isitolo JA la kuseta ngalo mhlambe leti inkampani mhlambe la ubuka khona i-research yakho la wenda khona ukhona kanjani nje ukuthi vele usucceed kuye business yakho?
Akusiko lula but ke I believe ukuthi kumele ube ngumuntu lo watiko ukuthi ulosatiko story sakho because sidila ngeskin sebamvu lokusho ukuthi there's a lot of research lekumele ingene lapho kakhulu. So in JAs uyasita because le funding labasipha yona uyakhona ukuthi uchubeke ufunze part time lapha nalapha but ke lenye inkampani lephinze yangiseta it's RSTP nabo bayakusita ngalokuthi unike lelo lwathi nale mentorship naloko ukuthi mase nifuna ke testa ngileto inkinga lengisamise ngidonyalo but sekuprocess ukuthi sithole le lokuthi sikhona kwa testa kahle because so far besasebenzisa ekwaluseni inami yakhona ilab yakhona but sifuna lokuthi saleke enyalo siba nale certificate yethi vele lama products are right ukuthi wonke mfanga abasebenzisa so that sitawuqhubeka se distribute. Actually we have distributors 10 in Eswatini and we have 2 in South Africa, 1 in Cape Town and 1 in Johannesburg. So once I follow the certificate, le yokusho ukuthi we'll be expanding to Africa wonke.
So ingabe vele how difficult is it as a young person, low unemployed, mhlambe low plan? You did say ecaleni ngokuthi you were depressed at some point ngesikhathi taba COVID. How did you overcome that? Ukuthi vele sikanjani vele lesimo out there for young people who are unemployed?
To tell you the truth, I think mina nje ngake ngatama kudibulala because of a depression. So akukho lula akukho mnanzi mangabe nakhona udelo umuntu lotokhona ukukhulumisa ukhona ukuventa out usho ukuthi mina I'm facing this challenge, you are always alone, you are always crying and ubona abangani bakho baya succeed akukho lula especially for bamfla basha and bamfla basha babukwe ngala bamfla ba strong bevanga there is something that keeps us going while the kude mbambamba. So for me nje ngiva ngazuthi akukho lula la ngephandle, especially mase ngabe ke asengibekise wena socethile nasesikoleni ugraduateile awukhona ukuthola umsebenzi vele angathi but nje akukho lula but nje bese sekufuna bese wena soyadi ukuthi ngitawuqala ini mina nje ngaqala ngeperfume. Iperfume idzinga iresearch le matima because namhla uyayihlanganisa iyahlukana, namhla uyayihlanganisa iyahlangana uyabo. So ukuthole lemvo leta ukwenda ube occupied ukhohlwe nalokho ukuthi phela mina angaqashwa uyabona. Uthi khanze so perfect phongo so yalala mawuvuka ucabanga kophana kusene emvo yami lengendawo. So uthola that thing leta keep your mind busy uzukhohlwa nalokho ukuthi phela yathi angaqashwa ngidwa umsebenzi uyabo. So mina kwami kwabangiloko lokuthi ngithole that one object leta ngikeep busy always and ke ngihlale ngithiniwe vele nje nanyalo ngoba utawuchama kumumva athi mina skin sami sekanjena sengitame ini nani. So I have to study your skin. So lokho studisha lo skin leso nje akusiwumdlalo kungathatha nabo 3 months. So long ngendi research ngibuka ukuthi how can I help you uyabona. After sengicedzile lokho uyabona ukuthi I'm no longer depressed uyabo. Sengiyathi ukuthi okay I've achieved 1 2 3 and 4.
Yeah, uyakhona yini mhlambe ukukhulumisana nebamfla abanye labasha labamhlambe labandlule esimeni lesinjengale sakho nje kuzama nje ukuba mentorisha kwa encourage ukuthi don't give up. Actually usengakhona kuphumelela ukalithola nethuba lelo nje ukuthi ukhulumise labanye bamfla abasha labangangawo.
Yes. Actually, I was working ku project here uyaka Well Vision. Basi mabangibona last year bangibona bengicela nje ngilenye organization Python wangicela ukuthi cela ngimentorishe le youth yabo. Bathi mabangibona ke baka Well Vision baba like uyathi singacela kusebenzisana nemvulo omusha at least bona labamfla abasha batasi mababona lo mvulo omusha abayala kukhona labata ku gainer. So ngaqala ke ngahambela cishe onke lama regions ngawahambela la kunala inkundla khona taka Well Vision. Ngifika umflo omusha ngimhlalise phansi sikhulume because labamfla abasha uyabona lokuthi lo munye uyafuna lokuqala le business lo munye uthi khanza so shada early because uvangazi uthi ngawukhona kondleka lapha kani utawukhona ungakhona ukuqalela ngawo akudingakala next uzoqale kakhulu ukuthi vele ngifuna ukuqala ngema cosmetics ungaqala ngema chips uqale ngema sweet utathe ke mase ingenelele imali so ungaqala ngetinkukhu leti 5 10 wenyuka ngenyuka ngalithola ke lelo thuba lelo sawahambela lama regions onke naka council of churches bavamisile ukuthi mabala programs lawo la setha labamfla abasha ngivele angibhadalisani ngisho somveni lami nje bayadi ukuthi makune events le involve abamfla abasha ngiya volunteer ukuthi athi mina ngicela ukuthi ngi-empowerishe labamfla abasha because ngiyadi ukuthi bandlulapi nami ngeke ngandlula khona uyabo. So bese ke sengiyabasita ngikubhalise ngisho business plan ngusite ukuthi athi ma apply lana lanzelana tinkampani nati makuna lama opportunities apply nobungawini mina I can even help you ukuthi masekuthiwa ke so your pitch uyabona how do you pitch from all those angubhadalisi nje umove lo mshado because I know the struggle.
So yena lenkhapkhapha ikhona invele kubamfla abasha kuleti indzawo nje leso tibalile lo tivakashele uyabona ukuthi vele bayifuna lemvule they hungry for it.
Yeah bakhona mawubuka nje ukuthi mina last year I was dealing with more than 50 wema business plans lebengibase lo munye akakwati kuna lokubhala business plan and ngiyathi ukuthi vele aqale ngaye nami bengingakwati but nje ukuthi umthathe umbhalisele business plan okay bakhona vele labo labathi ayi mina ngathi bangondla kahle labangondla khona uyabo and abe honest now because siba ne one on one abe honest athi mina you are just wasting your time la kimi so cela uqhubekele empilo yabo and masongitshelele liqiniso at least sengiyathi ukuthi ke angeke ngisasicitha isikhathi sami ku sendawuqhubekela kuloyo lofunako and some of them actually bayitfolile funding some of them ama business abo ayarana.
Yeah, all right, so nasibela nje mhlambe kulomcimbi wama awards your experience nale feeling nje ukuthi your company was amemeta lapha as a winner le category na how did that feel nekuthi nje bekutasita kanganani nje your company ukuthi senwine in award yaka JA?
Okay kule ceremony lena ke angifuni icambe manga ngoba mina nje bengitshetse yabona la angiyi because it was a tough competition and I believe lokuthi everyone lebeka lapha is a winner because mangibuka nje kula ama categories vele nje everyone bengibesaba mina kangaka kuba ngale Thursday I was like ish angiyimini kule ceremony lena baba like bamvu why ngathi mina nje ngiyesaba what if angibuyi nalutho yabona but ke ngase sengithi ke asengihambe ngiyoshayela labo labatawina tandla mangifika lapha I was the first one ukuthi abidwe and ngathuka kakhulu kangaka ngoba ngafika stage sengikhala ngehle stage sengikhala ngafika etafuleni ngakhala futhi ngiyadedema ke njalo so vele it was bekusho lokukhulu kimi lokho because kusho ukuthi sengidawuphinde ngiqhubeke ngifederation my studies lana nje kusho ukuthi ngithole scholarship la ngiyoqhubeka khona ngifunze ebusinessini ngeke yasidana lokho ukuthi ungahlali nje ukulevel la waqala khona solo la kumele uqhubeke ufunze ungetele ulwadi kwathi bani by in 5 years maybe stabese sina more than 10 ma products more than 20 ma products la setabona labamvu so kuyasita lokho uhlale utivusetelela na kuma studies akho.
Okay, kokugcina nje, what would your advice be to aspiring young entrepreneurs?
Ngasho nje ukuthi even though kungekho lula kuba ngumumvu lomusha losaqala ibhizinisi utawabona lapho ama challenges lawa nalawa but ungabi ngumumvu lomusha losaba ukucela lisido ukucela lisido kukhomba kuhlakanipha mawuqala ibhizinisi naloko ukuthi ke business vele utawufailisha utawuwa nami sengile ngawa emahlandla lamaningi but awukhombisi la ngephandle ukuthi yathi mina ngiyawa wena nje kumele ukwazi ukuthi okay mangiwile ngagilwa ngina intsambo nayi next time kumele ngingasahambi kuleli intsambo lena because etophinze ngigile yabo asengithole lenye route but sewuyazi ukuthi mangiwela sengidawuvuka la kumcoka ngaloko futhi ukuthi uqalele imvo yakho from scratch because uyathi ukuthi wena okay ngidawuhamba ngalana ngihambe ngala mangabe ngidawungilangala ngiyawa asengithathe lenye route then kukhanza imvo vele so uqalelwe because wawa kanye tova ngathi wena so ifail.
All right, thanks so much Sibonga kakhulu Samgelisiwe nakuye Lindumusa ngulaba ke lababili labawinile kuma awards aka JA Startup Awards Alumni libeka banjwe over the weekend. Let's take a break nasibuya sasada ngephandle kwakuleli.
Eswatini National Petroleum Company proudly presents to you the Monday edition of Market View, where business news are reported and analyzed by a cast of experts and correspondents to deliver unrivaled facts and figures from the business world. Catch this edition every Monday at 2 p.m. brought to you by Eswatini National Petroleum Company.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sivile sive sithi khulume.
Welcome back. One of the helicopters in a convoy carrying Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi had a rough landing. The country's Interior Minister Ahmed Vahidi confirmed to State TV, adding that rescue teams are being hampered by difficult weather conditions.
Search and rescue teams are on their way to a remote border area between Iran and Azerbaijan. Following reports, a helicopter carrying Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi made a hard landing. State media reported that making contact with the aircraft was difficult due to bad weather.
Various rescue teams are on their way to the region, but because of the poor weather and fogginess, it may take some time for them to reach the helicopter.
Raisi was returning from a visit with a delegation in neighbouring Azerbaijan. The helicopter is believed to have been crossing the mountainous area of Dizma near the shared border in harsh weather conditions and heavy fog. The Iranian Interior Minister said the helicopter was part of a convoy of 3 and that the 2 others carrying ministers and officials had arrived safely at their destination. Authorities said they were awaiting further details, with no news yet on Raisi's condition.
An Israeli airstrike killed 20 people in central Gaza, mostly women and children, and fighting raged across the north on Sunday as Israel's leaders aired divisions over who should govern Gaza after the war. Now its 8th month. Viewer discretion is advised.
Smoke rises above the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza, the result of intense fighting in the area. Since the beginning of May, Israel has conducted renewed military sweeps in the north of the enclave, areas where it had previously declared the end of major operations in January. On Saturday, an Israeli strike killed a handful of Palestinians with dozens injured. The wounded were rushed to this nearby hospital.
I call upon all free people in the world, to anyone with a shred of humanity. There are massacres happening here. Children are being killed. What have they done? Do you think you're battling a superpower? I swear it's the civilians who are dying.
40 kilometers to the south, at the other end of the enclave, Israeli forces continued their push into Rafah on Saturday, gaining ground. As fighting intensifies around the city, more than 800,000 people have been forced to flee in the last 2 weeks. According to the UN, they have mostly fled to areas without water supplies or adequate sanitation, which experts say just goes to demonstrate the growing need for humanitarian aid. More than 300 pallets were sent out on Saturday using this newly built US pier. The UN says it's still not enough. They're calling for road crossings to be opened in order to allow larger-scale deliveries.
Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny said on Saturday he would resign from the body unless Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved a post-war plan for the Gaza Strip.
There is a deadline, the 8th of June. War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz, a long-time political rival to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is calling on him to deliver a new war strategy by that date. Failure to do so will see Gantz's party leave the government.
If we are to continue to fight shoulder to shoulder, the Cabinet must approve by the 8th of June an action plan that will lead to the realization of our strategic goals.
Gantz's ultimatum to Netanyahu centres on a series of demands, a 6-point plan, including the return of the hostages, an end to Hamas rule and demilitarization of the Gaza Strip, establishing international administration of civilian affairs with American, European, Arab and Palestinian cooperation, as well as the return of residents of the north by the 1st of September and the rehabilitation of the western Negev, promotion of normalization of relations with Saudi Arabia, and a widening of military service to all Israelis. Netanyahu responded in a statement saying Gantz's conditions were euphemisms for Israel's defeat. The Israeli Prime Minister is under growing pressure. Critics include demonstrators who have taken part in weekly protests in recent months, accusing him of prolonging the war for his political survival, accusations he denies. There has been further frustration with Israeli Defense Forces announcing that the body of a hostage, Ron Benjamin, has been retrieved. The military said on Friday that its troops in Gaza had found the bodies of 3 hostages, also killed by Hamas, on the 7th of October.
Days after an assassination attempt, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico remains in serious condition, but the worst may be over. According to his deputy, a suspect remains in custody. Viewer discretion is advised.
News cameras last week captured the moment when a would-be assassin opened fire on Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico. A helicopter then carried Fico to the Roosevelt University Hospital at Banca Bystrica, where he had at least 2 surgeries, one of which repaired gunshot damage to his abdomen and hand. From the hospital, his deputy addressed the media Sunday.
I think the worst fear, at least for now, has passed, but the condition remains very serious, and therefore I want to thank again the doctors for the miracles that have happened in the recent days.
By Friday, a Slovak television station showed footage of police taking a suspect into custody. The Office of Slovakia's General Prosecutor describes the suspect as a 71-year-old former coal miner, amateur poet, and lone wolf attacker. Some news media reports have partially identified the suspect as Uri C. Fico's party won parliamentary elections last year on a pro-Russian and anti-American platform. Upon his victory, Fico promptly stopped arms shipments to Ukraine after his country's initial support for its neighbor. This prompted demonstrations in the streets of Slovakia, a NATO member state, and fueled what officials say may have motivated the shooter to act against Fico's government. Slovak President-elect Peter Pellegrini called Slovakia a wounded country, but added that political parties were not yet ready to meet on how the country should move forward. And despite Fico's Russia-leaning government, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recorded a message in which he called the attack appalling and totally unacceptable before wishing Fico a speedy recovery. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said President Joe Biden expressed alarm and deep concern over the attack.
We condemn this horrific act of violence, and our embassy is in close touch with the government and ready to assist. And I'm just going to leave it there for now.
Fico's shooting came just 3 weeks ahead of European Union parliamentary elections. If convicted, the suspect faces life in prison.
French forces smashed through dozens of barricades in a bid to retake the main road to New Caledonia's airport, and a top official said Sunday that Paris would reclaim all of the Pacific territory from independence militants, whatever the cost.
This is what RT1, the road crossing the main island of New Caledonia, looked like on Sunday. After 6 days of violence, with barricades blocking traffic, including to the international airport, French police and military forces removed the rioters. Hundreds of officers were flown over from metropolitan France. French authorities say they have restored Republican order, releasing images of trucks removing charred cars and various objects from the road, and of police officers patrolling Nouméa, the capital. The archipelago's residents have long been divided on whether New Caledonia should remain part of France, be more autonomous, or fully independent. Those backing independence are mostly part of the indigenous communities, which represent only 39% of the overall population. What sparked the latest violence was the French authorities' plan to impose new voting rules, which would grant voting rights to thousands of new non-indigenous residents. This would automatically diminish the weight of the indigenous community and ruin its hopes to get independence through a democratic vote. On Sunday, as roads and barricades were cleared, people rushed to stores to get groceries after days of being holed up in their neighborhoods.
4 people have been killed after Russian shelling hit an area on the outskirts of the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. The shelling comes just a day after a new mobilization law came into effect, which drops the age at which men can be drafted into the army from 27 to 25.
After more than 2 years of war, weapon supplies are heavily depleted, and so are personnel. For some of the soldiers on Ukraine's frontline, a new mobilisation law couldn't come sooner.
It should have been done earlier, in my humble opinion.
Mammoth is a military drone pilot who says he went to war aged 22 without experience. But step by step, his commander taught him the skills he needed.
This mobilization law is not popular. I won't say for everyone, but for many. Of course people are scared. This is normal. But decisions have to be made, and we have to fight.
The law, which came into effect on Saturday, includes a clause that lowers the conscription age to join the army from 27 to 25 and offers financial incentives to encourage more troops. Some critics are worried it will lead to businesses closing if the majority of their staff are mobilised. Others are concerned that it will take too long to train new troops and that it is too little, too late, with some estimates saying at least 100,000 new troops are needed to repel Russia's advancing forces. For Coyote, the law could have gone a step further.
Who criticises it? Civilians? Only civilians who don't see themselves in the army. They don't have a war. But I think it's normal starting from the age of 25. I would have made the age even lower.
But while the law may be unpopular, these soldiers say that without it, they could risk losing the war.
Heavy rains caused flooding in parts of Germany, Belgium, France and the Netherlands overnight into Saturday, swamping streets and buildings and parking evacuations.
Cars are underwater, basketball courts flooded and entire streets are washed out in Breibach, Germany, following 2 days of continuous rainfall that has affected nearly the whole Saarland state and caught locals off guard.
My bedroom is downstairs and has never been underwater before. This is the first time today. Floods in my room, that was the worst that could have happened to me.
Some 40 kilometres away, residents of Hemmersdorf woke overnight to emergency services at their doors. Water levels had risen unprecedentedly fast. They had to evacuate.
I was born and raised here, but a flood like this I have never witnessed, and neither have the people in our town.
By Saturday afternoon, Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz had arrived to Saarland. Praising the work of volunteers, he noted the need to keep preparing for events like this. In some places in the state, Germany's weather service measured more rainfall in 24 hours than in the whole month of April. Over the border in Belgium, residents ferry sandbags in attempt to protect their properties. It's a situation all too familiar in Central Europe after catastrophic floods 3 years ago hit many of the same regions.
We've ruined the climate ourselves. That's the problem. And I think more water is going to fall. I've been here 11 years. 2021 was the first. This is the second.
In France too, streets were completely submerged in the northeast Moselle region. Levels reached as high as 40 centimetres in some areas and were yet to hit their peak.
The effects of recent extreme weather in Southeast Asian countries are far-reaching, from school closures to drought and health advisories. While climate change is part of the problem, this year it was made worse by this cyclical weather pattern called El Nino.
For this rickshaw driver, April's record heat in Myanmar was unbearable. He said, "Sometimes I get headaches. When my headache worsens, I must stay under the shade. Sometimes I have to go under the shade and rest for 10 to 15 minutes after I carry the passengers under the sun." Not far from where he lives, the town of Chok recorded a temperature of 48.2 degrees Celsius, the highest ever recorded in Myanmar during April since records began 56 years ago. Myanmar is not alone. April's heat wave shattered high temperature records throughout Asia, from Bangladesh to the Philippines. The record heat wave damaged crops, threatening food security, and has been blamed for dozens of deaths around the region. In Tan Pudong, Vietnam, the heat evaporated water supplies, leaving salty water behind. In salt water, there are generally no plants to grow. You cannot grow whatever you want. And it's the same with livestock farming. We must have fresh water for them to drink, he said. A new study by the scientists at the World Weather Attribution Group concluded that human-caused climate change contributed, making a heat wave 45 times more likely in parts of the continent. The cyclical weather pattern known as El Nino, that happens when parts of the Pacific Ocean get warmer, also played a role.
That's something that we increasingly need to adapt to as societies. And so it means that we need to be ready for things that are more extreme than the average, right? We need to be ready for extremes that are reinforced by something like an El Nino.
Officials across the region have organized public awareness campaigns to protect people and issued health warnings. Governments have also set up water and cooling stations in vulnerable areas. Yet only some have developed sustainable strategies to tackle the escalating impacts of the climate crisis. Due to the larger energy demand for cooling during the heat wave, there have been power outages, electricity rationing, and increased pressure on existing power infrastructure. While the monsoon season will likely bring relief from the heat wave, climate scientists warn that being ready for the next extreme heat wave will be critical.
President Joe Biden and his Republican rival in the 2024 presidential race, Donald Trump, have agreed to hold two debates. A set of rules aims to make their interactions as civilized as possible.
To debate or not to debate, Democratic President Joe Biden gave a straightforward answer on May 15th.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal.
2 dates have now been set, June 27th and September 10th. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump was defiant about the matter during a campaign event Friday in Minnesota.
I just want to debate this guy, but, you know, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite.
There's no evidence to back up Trump's claims. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen questioned the former president's debate tactics when interviewed Sunday on ABC's This Week show.
He wants to create this sort of atmosphere of a circus-like entertainment. But the choice will be very clear. I mean, you've got Joe Biden. He's the guy who grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He fights for the middle class. He believes in the dignity of work and decency. Donald Trump, agent of chaos.
Former Trump campaign advisor Mark Lauder, also interviewed on ABC, applauds having both candidates on stage.
This is going to be live recall, and Donald Trump gets up there 2 or 3 times a week and pontificates for 90 minutes. Joe Biden rarely does an actual hard interview. This is going to be a challenge for President Biden.
The debates will be held with no live audiences. The news anchors hosting the events on CNN and ABC will be able to shut off the microphones if the candidates try to interrupt each other. The goal of the debates is to help voters make up their minds ahead of the November presidential election, explains Professor of Political Science at Roger Williams University, June Spickman.
Trump is particularly good at focusing on the negative aspects of his opponent, less interested in discussing the issues. My guess is that Biden will try to focus on the issues, on his performance in the economy, Biden's performance on the economy, and less on Trump's characteristics as a candidate.
For debates to sway votes, timing is important. Jean Fourier, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, told VOA via Skype.
When you get close to the election and many voters are paying attention, those debates got a lot of viewership and people watching to really see if there are undecideds who wanted to make up their mind at the last minute.
The push for both candidates to garner voters' approval will continue this week. Trump is expected to visit the South Bronx on May 23rd. Biden will be on official travel in New Hampshire on May 21st and will then head to Boston, Massachusetts.
South Africa's expatriate community in the UK, some 25,000 people strong, headed to the polls on Saturday to cast their ballots in the general election. With some polls suggesting that the ANC may not receive 50% of the vote, there's a possibility of a coalition government.
Here in Trafalgar Square, South African expatriates queued to cast their votes in the country's general election. Many donned their national flag and appeared in high spirits.
I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling so excited. I'm seeing lots of South Africans. Everyone is happy and everyone came out in numbers to support our country.
I am hoping that as a result of people throughout the world casting their vote, as well as people within South Africa casting their votes in a couple of weeks' time, that we can help South Africa reach its best potential.
South Africans go to the polls for the election later this month. But here in London, the South African High Commission is open over the weekend to enable the UK's 25,000-strong expat community to cast their ballots. Some polls are indicating that the governing African National Congress could receive less than half of the vote, meaning that a coalition government could be on the cards. The ANC, which led the fight against apartheid under the late Nelson Mandela, came to power in 1994. But the party, now led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, is under mounting pressure, as economic inequalities, high unemployment and corruption allegations have seen its popularity fall. The ANC says it is working to resolve these issues. Meanwhile, the Democratic Alliance, the main opposition led by John Steenhuisen, has vowed to create 2 million new jobs and put an end to the frequent power cuts in the country. It also intends to move towards greater privatisation.
And your party is targeting Muslims from Germany's Turkish diaspora, DEVA Democratic Alliance for Diversity and Renewal. Currently in Germany, there are around 1.5 million people of Turkish origin registered to vote, and many of them have never really felt at home in the traditional parties. But the party does not enjoy unanimous support and is suspected of having links with Turkish President Erdogan's AKP.
They've come to target Muslim voters. In one of the very first campaign meetings for the DEVA party in Hamburg, the party leader for the European elections sets the tone.
Let's be clear, we are on the side of justice.
DEVA was founded by Germans of Turkish origin. Disappointed with the Conservative and Social Democrat parties, they claim to be filling a political void and fighting anti-Muslim racism. It's an argument that appeals to many voters from immigrant backgrounds.
It's great that they're defending our rights.
It's very good for all of those who, like us, don't feel represented anywhere else.
We've been met with euphoria since we launched, just like the Green Party experienced when they first stood for election, and now they're part of the government.
Nearly 1.5 million Germans of Turkish origin are currently registered to vote. They represent a source of voters for this new party, which supports traditional values but denies any direct links with the Turkish regime.
It's a delusion on the part of our opponents. We are an indigenous German political party, but we're not hostile to President Erdogan, Turkey, or the Muslim religion, and that's what sets us apart from other politicians.
According to German media, many party members have proven links with organisations close to President Erdogan. For this psychologist, a leading figure in Berlin's diaspora, the new party has no real justification for existing.
Many Germans of Turkish origin are already involved in German political parties. They get elected and hold office, and that's why with these arguments, DEVA can't hold in the long term.
Nonetheless, DEVA hopes to win 1 or even 2 seats in the European Parliament. In this election, the party is just testing the waters before standing in Germany's federal elections next year.
In India, proxy voting does not exist in the country, so on voting days, thousands are missing out. This constraint results in lost wages during periods of absence from work and additional expenses for the return journey, making it difficult and costly for them to exercise their right to vote.
In New Delhi, these men sort electronic waste from the garbage. They work nearly 12 hours a day for a mere salary of 110 euros per month. With the lack of employment opportunity in their home states, these workers have migrated to the national capital from across India. Muhammad Alam is still registered to vote in Bihar, a state nearly 1,400 kilometers away from Delhi. But this year, he won't be able to return to his village to vote, and proxy voting system does not exist in India.
We can't leave our jobs. Voting should be online so that people like us, who are in Delhi or Chennai, can vote remotely.
Too expensive, too far. Savan and Vibha will not be able to go back to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh.
I'll have to spend 100 euros for the trip. If I leave, the work here will stop. How will I feed my children?
According to government figures, India has nearly 150 million daily migrant workers. As a result, the Election Commission of India reaches out to the families of migrant workers, convincing them to return home during elections, particularly in certain states like Jharkhand, one of the poorest in the country.
We have identified 930 people who are currently outside the district. We're adopting different means to call them or visiting their homes in the village.
Rajesh Rao works in the western Indian state of Rajasthan, which is nearly 1,500 kilometers away from his registered polling station.
I travelled 3 days. I came to vote to choose the right politicians who will ensure a good future.
Despite their large numbers, migrant workers remain invisible in the country's politics, says Mukta Nayak, a researcher on migrant issues.
It's very difficult for internal migrants to become political subjects because their identity as workers, their identity as belonging to a certain caste will always come before their identity of being a migrant.
It's not only the internal migrants who are mostly excluded from the voting process. Over 17 million Indians living abroad also miss the opportunity.
After 20 years in Iraq, the United Nations has been told by the Iraqi Prime Minister it is time to move on.
The UN Assistance Mission for Iraq, or UNAMI, was established in 2003 in the aftermath of the U.S. military invasion and the fall of Saddam Hussein, which led to years of domestic instability, terrorism, and political violence. But 20 years on, Iraq has told the UN it is time for its political mission to go. Iraq's envoy says the country is stable, terrorism is contained, and Baghdad and Kurdish authorities are trying to work out their differences.
Both parties are working on maintaining the sustainability of a stable relationship between them, especially in terms of the budget and the salaries of the Kurdistan employees and the salaries of the Peshmerga and security forces. We are also working on enhancing political cooperation by focusing on the principles of partnership, complementarity, and balance, stipulated by the Constitution.
On May 8th, Baghdad asked the UN to begin winding down in June and to transition its work to Iraqi institutions by the end of next year. In Iraq, not everyone agrees the UN mission should leave.
Most Kurdish parties, Sunni parties, many of the minorities are concerned. They see that UNAMI at least has been able to play the role of good offices. It has been able to facilitate dialogues of various issues between the stakeholders, and they worry not to have that type of impartial institution at hand that they can lean on when they are in such difficulty.
The head of the UN mission, who concludes her 5-year tenure this month, agrees there are still serious challenges to overcome, but said from Baghdad that Iraq is a country on the rise.
Corruption, factionalism, impunity, undue interference, and armed actors operating outside state control. While the government is tackling these scourges, they still represent major hurdles to be overcome. The same goes for feelings of marginalization and exclusion, which are spreading in and among certain components. If left unaddressed, they risk fanning the flames of intra- and inter-community tension.
5 days after UNAMI was created, in August 2003, a suicide bomber detonated a truck full of explosives outside the UN headquarters in Baghdad, killing 22 staffers and injuring more than 100 others. But the United Nations remained in Iraq, though it still has not achieved everything it set out to do.
Many of the provisions of the mandate have not been met. That is not all on UNAMI, of course, but if you look at some of the broader issues that UNAMI has endeavored to deal with or to help with in Iraq, including the disputed territories, for instance, constitutional review, resolving disputes between Baghdad and Erbil, all of those remain unresolved.
UNAMI's current term expires at the end of May, and the Security Council will decide in the coming days how to respond to Iraq's drawdown request.
It's 29 minutes after 7. Let's go for an ad break. We'll be back in a moment.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76 222-000 or dial *007 *3 *7#, or you can use Eswatini imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back. It's 28 minutes before 8. Singanago Sports segment. Fabrice Msonera is in studio. Fabrice, welcome to the studio. A lot of ground to cover. Starting here locally, Denver Sundowns Wanderers officially out of the league. They've been relegated. Bobana Swallows officially crowned champions, with a great win over the weekend. Let's just talk through the highlights from the past weekend. Of course, I want us to start by looking at the relegation. A lot of fans are obviously, distraught with Wanderers going down. Not so much around Denver Sundowns, funny enough. The conversation seems to be more focused on Wanderers. Why is that the case?
It's a very good morning to you, Sfiso, and to the viewers. You'd want to think these are, when you talk about the giants of the Manzini city, it's Monini Pirates, Denver Sundowns, and Manzini Wanderers. But I think it's based on the supporters and how many supporters that the followership that Wanderers has as a team. They have a huge crowd of supporters. So I think compared to Denver Sundowns, then you would understand. But I think the concern is that if you have to be fair, then you have to ask yourself, these are some of the teams that have been actually at Premier League level for the longest time, especially a team like Denver Sundowns that is owned by the chairman of the club, chairman of the Premier League. So you then ask yourself, then what's next? Because now we've got Eswatini United coming up and Sisonke. And then next season, we might have a season after next season, it's a 16 teams rule. Are they going to be allowed to come up, the two of them? What's going to happen? We're hearing that now Wanderers have launched a protest. It's too much surrounding the story. But if you look at the weekend results, and then to answer your question, like you said, there is that concern, yes, of both teams. But I think the issue here is the status of the club. I mean, you look at Wanderers. Wanderers is more of a bigger team, not to disrespect Denver, but it's more of the big team. Because now, when you talk about the big three, we now don't have big three this coming season in the Premier League. Maybe we might say big three with things in the Hotspurs, but now we have big two only in terms of the history of football. I did talk to Cricket William Shongwe, former Kaizer Chief and Manzini Wanderers in the news. He highlighted that it will be sad for the football industry for Wanderers to drop into the relegation zone. But results over the weekend, things in getting 3 points, the last 3 points of the season. Green Mamba pushing their limits as well, 4-0 against Babane Highlanders. But you want to believe that Swallows, having won the league, this is how you want to finish. This is what you call professional. When you face all your games, when you play your games, even if you've won the league, just put in the effort, show what you're capable. And I think for them to win, because if you remember when they lost during the Ngwenyama Cup final against Green Mamba, they were only left with 6 games to the title, and they just won all the 6 games. And if you look at amongst those 6 games, the team they've managed to beat, there's Young Buffaloes, there is the derby against Highlanders and things in. So they had the biggest games to play in the last 6 games. But Seabirds, was also in question. I think going to the weekend, we had Seabirds, we had Eswatini United, we had Denver, we had Wanderers. Seabirds, that draw against Illovo, they just needed 1 point to go to 20, to move to 25. Then you've got Denver beating Manzini Wanderers. Whatever the case, I think going down without a victory, maybe they would say we're not going down alone. But for Wanderers, they just needed that victory. And remember, Moreni Pirates and Eswatini United, they played a draw. How safe were they going to be? They just needed that draw. I mean, they just needed that win with the Eswatini United and Pirates playing a draw. They were quite safe, but football being football, they are going. And I think, so it's not. I'm trying to tell myself, am I dreaming? Because during the course of the week, we're going to hear a lot of stories coming from the Manzini Wanderers camp. 90% of the key players in that club, I don't think they will want to stick with the team. A team like Eswatini United is coming. Well. Yeah, Eswatini United is coming up. No, Nyanga might stick with the team due to the.
Even after his comments in that, even the squad that played this game that they lost wasn't his squad.
Yeah, you'd want to hear those politics. There are always those politics, but for the love of the team that he has, and I think at some point we were talking about it on a sports show to say he's supposed to be one of the, if there was a chance to have a statute of Hlope at Manzini Wanderers as a person who played for the club. He played for the club and went on to coach it and then made history. He tried all the best, but the consistency, the lack of consistency with the team. Today is the coach, tomorrow is not the coach, tomorrow is the assistant. But when you look at what we just saw, the table down there, then you ask yourself, the players, their key players within that squad, are they going to stick with the team? Sisonke is coming up. Eswatini United is coming up. These are the teams that want to use experienced players. Is there a chance for them to get fewer players? Now, question mark, can supporters actually go next season and watch Wanderers fixture in the National First Division? It's another question mark. Where do you fixture them? Because we've seen some of the Premier League National First Division games being featured different venues. Well, it's a lot. It's a lot being made. Look at the difference. Like I said, for them losing that game, had they won the game, they could be 24. And we could be talking about Pirates being the team to draw. But now, Pirates drew against Eswatini United. Both Eswatini United and Manzini Seabirds was... Eswatini United and Seabirds they needed draws, just to draw. And that's what happened. Seabirds against Illovo, Eswatini United against Pirates. But for Wanderers, that victory against Denver Sundowns, and then hoping that Pirates does not, get maximum point, that's what happened. But failing to get 3 points, that's the destiny of football. Now, I want to bring you attention. I want to bring something to your attention. So remember now the headlines that we woke up to this last week about Green Mamba pulling out of CAF Confederation. By virtue of being the Ngwenyama Cup, there is two competitions. There is CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation. Swallows are the champions. They're going to CAF Champions League. CAF Confederation, it was supposed to be the winners of Ngwenyama Cup, that is Green Mamba. So they pulled out. Yeah. When they pulled out, there were questions now. And if you look at CAF rules and regulations, I think apparently there is no ban maybe because they put out on time. But now, what is the next option? Who is in line now to get that chance? I think things, and if you look how they are positioned, they can get that chance. Have they answered? Have they actually launched their interest? We have to find out in our deliberate. I think more than anything, they pulled out.
I want to say Mbabane Swallows. Sorry,
Mbabane Swallows are going to CAF Champions League, so we need a CAF Confederation.
So they can't participate in the Confederation.
Yeah, you can't participate in both. So is there a chance for singing things in hospitals? Right. Remember, they have been singing about going to Africa, and look at how important it is to finish strong the season. Yeah. People were saying, you know what? Since now Buffaloes and Red Leopard have lost the league, look at how important it is. If now it's a decision for the local football to say we're sending a team. Look when things in stand. Yeah, they stand a chance. Yeah, it's the first option. Highlanders, if also they put in maximum effort, if they could be still number 3, this could be their chance. That's why they say, Sfiso, don't undermine games, telling yourself, every game is I'm not fighting for anything. Every game is important. Look how how key, and look the effort, because when the first round finished and Singers in Hospice was around number 9-8 somewhere there, but look where they are now, number 3. That's a huge achievement for a team like Singers in Hospice, and there's progress. Tell you what, Sfiso, going to the next season, It's a team to watch. It's a team to fight, to see fighting for the
certainly,
titles.
without a doubt. Because you even look at, look at Bobana Swallows and Green Mamba. They managed to amass 15 wins this season.
Yeah.
Singers just followed with 12.
12.
And they only lost 2 games.
Yeah.
To Green Mamba 6, which means they actually did have a good season. It's just, they accumulated more draws, which is safe if you think about it. It just means they were hard to beat. They only lost twice.
I mean, look at the form. Look at the grade. Wow. I mean, it's win. That draw, I think I remember, it should have been a draw against Ilov, or if I recall. But look at the wins. Look at the wins. Look at the wins. Look at the wins. They managed to beat Red Leopard. They beat. I think more than anything, going into the next season, I think that's a team to watch. And we've talked about losing a team like Manzini Wanderers. I think we've got a new team. I'm not repressing them, because Wanderers, you can't really replace them in terms of status and who they are. But I think we have got another big 3 team. If you have Highlanders or Waswados, and I think the entire Shiselweni will be behind this team. Yes, we have got Rangers, which is something I'm proud of, because now you don't have any team from both Rangers and Zingzin dropping into the National First Division. But for both of them playing into the Premier League next season.
Let's talk about the Bears, though, ending the season in such a high note, only losing 1 game this season. They won 15, they drew 10. They won their last 5. They've won the championship. They have the 1 million Emalangeni check presented to them by Minister Bongani over the past weekend. What a season for Swallows.
What a season, mostly for Caleb Ngwenya as the coach, and then I think what he's done as a coach. We've seen him, improving teams from the days of Maida City, from all those days. 1 million richer in the presence of course, of the board of Mbabane Swallows, Minister for Sports, Honorable Bongani Nzima, PLE chairman. You've got also the club president, Bishop MTN CEO, club president, Bishop Lukele. You've got Mr. Makongo, some of the senior officials. It tells you anything, but then, in going to the next season, I think we're yet to see better, because it's a team that is going to be improving. And I like on how some of the key players, I'm hoping to see is maybe the captain, someone like Sfiso Mabila, could this be the last season, because he didn't play much of the game, as you can see on the right side or left side of the screen. That's Sfiso Mabila, and the new assistant captain, Kingsley. You ask yourself, maybe, what are some of the changes? Are they going to add new faces? Because one of the key elements they need a striker, because we're not sure if Felix maybe next season could be still at the club. But beside that, I think they still need a proper number 9, a finisher. And going to Africa, they need a finisher. And then they need to get also a centre-back, because Kingsley partnering with Sandile Flatrago is not a natural defender, so they need someone to be in that position. Then you've got Newman on their side, and Siposetu. I think they will improve. A midfield, I think I like the style of having Kwake. You have the likes of Tiger, and you've got Manyisa. They're improving also. It's a growing side, and the bench is exciting. So a credit to Caleb Ngwenya. And I think he needs to be given just time. They should give him a list of listen to his wishes, listen to the players he wants. What type of striker does he want? It is hard for us, because in this region, the Southern region, you can't would say the players, the market is not the way we know that it is like internationally. But if he feels like that's the player he wants, if that's the player he wants to get, give him the money and give him the player, if that's available and if it's possible. But what a season we've had. I mean, it tells you one thing. Now, going to the next season, let's look at the table. You play 26 games. So what I'm picking is this. Now, when you get to the English Premiership, I'll compare. It tells you this. I want the listeners just to get this first. You play 26 games a season. So in other words, you play 10, out of 26 games, 10 wins, you are guaranteed safety. You can't be relegated, because that's 30 points. Once you have won 10 games, you're guaranteed. That's one. Let's start with it.
The last team to reach that threshold this season has been Highlanders.
Yes, Highlanders. 10 games, you win 10, you win 10 games, you are guaranteed you are not going to be relegated. 2, so you are guaranteed if you can win 15, you're in the race for the title, depending on how the competition is that season. But if you win 10, that's about 45 points, and you can see 15. So I'm not saying if you win 15 every season you can be a champion, but at least if you win 15, you are guaranteed that you are within the reach to fight for the title, depending on the competition that season. Because we've seen a season where 2017, 2018, when Swallows won the league without losing a game, I think at that point they had won, I think, 22 games with only 4 draws. So it depends on the competition of the season. So, but this season, it showed that if you can at least have 10 games with that you've won, that's avoiding relegation, then 15, you are within the fight of the title.
So you just need a 58% winning percentage for you to be in a good chance to win the title, which is really, really interesting to me because, 15 games sounds like, a small number.
Yeah, but compare the number of games we will play, because we don't play 38 like in England.
Indeed.
Yeah, so you can imagine if we were to play 38, that's 12 more games. Maybe you would say it's achievable because we get to England, we look at the table, because if in England number 1, 38, had to win 28 games, then locally number 1, 26 games, 15, then it's almost similar, because I'm looking at the number of games they play compared to the number of games we play. But huge credit. Look, remember the race, Young Buffaloes, Red Leopard, at some point Green Mamba and Swallows. But at some point you raised the question, and I think the question was there from the viewers to say, how do we rate out and things in hospitals? But look where they are finished, within the top 3 of the season.
Indeed.
And once again, what a chance for them they could be on their way to represent the country.
CAF
the
Confederation
Cup. Huge
Congratulations to Mbabane Swallows. Want to just say that one last time before we move on. And Green Mamba there pulling an Arsenal, just being slightly behind the champions. And let's segue straight to the English Premier League, Fabrice. We have seen Manchester City this past weekend being crowned the English Premier League champions. What does this mean for them to win 4 top flight titles in a row and being the first team to do that? Yeah,
I think more than anything, I think Pep, he deserves just to be given that title. Sir Pep Guardiola. When in 1999 Alex Ferguson was given that title, Sir Alex Ferguson, I think he deserves that. I think if you look at what we would have seen in the past years in the English Premiership, I think more than anything, he's good. He's good. You look at the results. So you caught my words. On Monday, I was here in the studio when we were talking on Monday, and we were talking on Monday, and I did tell you that I really appreciate the job that has been done by Michael Arteta, which I think maybe he could be probably the coach of the season, but I don't think they were going to win the league. I think City showed. Look now what I was actually telling you, that the difference is just 2 points. And it's just that now this table maybe is not showing you how many wins, but both teams actually won 28 games. City won 28, Arsenal won 28 the entire season. The only difference was how many games did City draw and how many games did Arsenal lose. And so from Christmas up to today, they just couldn't lose any single game in the league. With Arsenal also only losing against Aston Villa, which I think that's the game that really handed over City the title. That game against Aston Villa, even a draw was proper. That lose on home soil, and I think Arteta knows, because I don't think people really want to put so much on what happened on Wednesday against City and Tottenham. I really don't want to put on my mind on that, because I feel like you don't have to wait for another results for you to hope on what could happen. I think that game against Aston Villa, that was about 2 months back on home soil. That's when Arsenal lost the title, and that's where the pickup was, because City has got they have got experience to do this thing. And I can tell you what, coming to the next season, I'm going to say this: Arteta will once again work hard. They will get players. Chelsea, they will improve. Trust me. This is not the Chelsea. You see how they finished the last 15 games. Out of last 15 games, they won 13. They drew 2. That's the form. They actually they won 12. They drew 2. They lost 1 against Arsenal. That 5-0. That's what next season Chelsea will fight. Liverpool can't say much. We need to wait and see the coach and everything. But tell you what, as long as Pep is in charge of in the English football, I don't think another team is yet to touch a trophy yet. I think it's going to be the same thing. Yes, Arsenal will once again come close. Liverpool could also put in an effort. Chelsea could
Tottenham might have an season.
But I think this guy is a serial winner. I think he's going to do it again. Having a player like Foden at the age of 22, is now a Premier League player of the season. I mean,
does he have a title? Because I think I do remember Jose Mourinho going by the chosen one.
Yeah. Okay, those are the nicknames you give someone because.
Yes, but like Sir is reserved for English.
Okay, so you're given by the entire country because
you have to be English.
Not really. You don't have to be English. I think it's the achievement. If I remember Ferguson when he was given that, it's after he won that treble. I have to double check what you're saying. You could be right, but I think it's the achievement.
I'm getting confirmation from the producers that
you have to be.
I am actually right.
You have to be English.
He's from Scotland. Let's call him the one.
Yeah, we call him the one. No, maybe you have to be English. Let's say that.
He's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the one. Okay, Mourinho.
The special one.
Special one. We never know. Yeah, you could say the right one.
Yeah,
tactician, and everyone. But
he's proven.
And can I tell you one thing? You see this squad. He will improve the squad. He knows. You might look at the team.
Does the squad need improving though?
That's what I'm saying. When you look at the team, I'm looking at a player like Vagiola, the guy he bought, the number 24, who's now playing as a left back. When he came into the season, coming from the German football, we were saying, look at the players like Akanji. You look at. Tell you what. Pep knows what he wants. Look at, he's got the best number 9 in the world right now, currently. He's got the best goalkeeper in the world right now. He's got the best playmaker in the world. But I tell you what, he knows that he couldn't get Rice last season, so he ended up getting Kovacic. But trust me, he knows there's an issue also of Grealish and Doku, because Doku can't give you that daily performance that is the same. I think you go get a winger. He hasn't. I think in one interview he mentioned that he felt like they haven't really replaced Mahrez when Mahrez left for the Southern Arabian football. So I think you get a winger, a proper one. He could get one of the best wingers. I think he'll get a winger. That should expect it. But in terms of midfield, he could get another midfield. But he knows he needs to add a player, and he knows he has to go and once again win the Champions League. For Arsenal, they also need to add something. They need to get a striker. They need to get another probably centre back. Yeah. Yes, Timber is back, but they need also to add something. Partey, who knows? Talks are saying he could leave for Italy. They also need another winger because yesterday you could see in the absence of Saka, there's Martinelli and Trossard, and once they don't have what you want, the bench is not an option. Smith Rowe is not your type of player who would say he can go and win you the league, because if you want to win the league, compare the player on your position on the other side. You can't say on your bench you have got Smith Rowe coming up when City on the bench, they have got someone like Alvarez coming up, who played more than 25 games in the absence of Kevin De Bruyne, and he was just putting the pace out here. You go to Chelsea, they need to add players. You go to Liverpool, who knows, they could change things. So we're expecting a good season. But I was sad to see Luton Town. I think I liked them. I liked on how they showed character. And then I think with the return of Leicester City, it's another good game, a good team returning to the Premier League. And then you also have to look at position for the Champions League. This is now what is really sad, because Spurs couldn't beat City because they thought maybe it's over. But Spurs could have been able to achieve the Champions League spot if they beat City. Because yesterday, Crystal Palace managed to beat Aston Villa 5-0. So you can imagine then where it means. So Spurs are going to the Spurs and Chelsea. Will be playing Europa League. Then you've got Manchester United and West Ham into the Europa Conference League. So Aston Villa, confirmation is that they are going to the Champions League. Then teams that I feel like they have improved. Bournemouth, I was impressed. They have really improved. Fulham, Wolves, Everton, you would think that their performance, they didn't think, Crystal Palace finishing in the top 10. Then you have to count how many London teams that are in the top 10. You've got Arsenal, it's a London team. You've got Spurs, it's a London team. You've got West Ham, it's a London team. You've got Crystal Palace, it's a London team. So it shows you the improvement. But
Chelsea as well.
Yeah,
Fabrice, there it is, man. 38 games have been played officially. Really, really great season for the English Premier League. But what a legend, man. This German coach, 9 seasons. Let's talk about his record with Liverpool. Having to play 334 matches and winning over 200 of those matches is not something easy. He's also one of the special ones. We want to admit that Talk to me about this guy's journey as he leaves Liverpool.
No, he's won everything with the club. This is what you want from a club perspective, because I think at some point he was trending on social media, top 10 of some of the players that he signed that really improved the English football. You talk about the Egyptian king, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk. You talk about the likes of Wijnaldum, all those players that he signed. But I think this guy who arrived in 2015, be able to give them about 9 trophies, because he won the English Premiership. He won 9 to 7 trophies. He won the Champions League first. That's the title you can see on the screen. He won the league in 2019, 2020 during COVID. He won the FA Cup and the Carling Cup. Carling Cup even twice this season. They won it as well. He won the Club World Cup. He won the Community Shield. So he won everything you can win as a club.
2 manager of the season.
2 manager of the season.
10 manager of the month.
That spirit. Because yesterday I was listening to his speech. He say, "I'm one of you now." And then the jersey, I think the hoodie that he was wearing yesterday, it was written at the back. I will never walk alone. He's one of them. So I think now next season, it's going to be exciting. He's going to be quoted mostly as an analyst. They'll be calling him as a pundit, your Monday football. He'll be seen at stadiums. Sure. Yeah, he'll be seen at stadium to give his views. I think the biggest question was, why did this guy leave? I think in my view, looking at what was happening behind the scene, and I think they didn't meet the standards, the requirements, everything that he wished for the club to achieve, including the last season when he urged the board to give him money to sign a player like Jude Bellingham, and it never happened. And you look at where Bellingham is as a player now, because he felt like a player like Bellingham was supposed to replace his former captain, Jordan Henderson. So I feel like he's improved the team. But now, where to from here? You've got players like
I don't
Salah.
know, but the only thing that I know is that he'll never walk alone.
Yeah.
He's from Liverpool anyway. So congratulations to him on a great, illustrious journey as a coach for Liverpool. Hopefully, wherever the next endeavor is, he's going to continue to be great. And yes, we will see him as a pundit for sure. He's eloquent as well, so I think that works. Yeah. Let's go for a break. We close the show with Lungalele.
Eswatini National Petroleum Company proudly presents to you the Monday edition of Market View, where business news are reported and analyzed by a cast of experts and correspondents to deliver unrivaled facts and figures from the business world. Catch this edition every Monday at 2 p.m. brought to you by Eswatini National Petroleum Company.
All right, that guy that just left, by the way, and it feels like a disservice that we're announcing this, Sega Pumile. A very proud moment for Benny, for Eswatini TV. Yet again, he's on an all-time run. He's being our own club. Nominated once again for the Sports Journalist of the Year award at the 2024 African Union Sports Council Region 5 Regional Annual Sports Awards. The winner will be announced on the 25th of this month in Lusaka, Zambia, and the winner, Fabrice Msonera, and I just want to declare that now, will be announced officially. Already mingling with the greats, the legends. He's on his way of legendary status himself. Also seen with our Chief Financial Officer and our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Namuli Dlamini. Presented, by the way, with his award that he won recently, I think over a month ago now. So yeah, Fabrice is on a run, and this is what Eswatini does. We just excel. So congratulations to Fabrice for bagging another nomination. We wish him all the best.
Yeah, all right. All the best to Fabrice Musonera. He'll come home with it.
Yeah. He's flying to Zambia. He's going to come back home with it today.
All right, see you tomorrow and have a lovely day.
the day you take Christ into your life, you begin to walk in a blessing.
Emaswati Master ushiya simakazi sibukela abanye bonkulunkulu uNkulunkulu tawukhwesha kithi emaswati singamlahli uNkulunkulu
sitomdumisa sisho sithi uyigwele somali
mase ubutholile lobungcwele hlala ungilongcwele
ningesabi nimaswati this is our season nguye idolo nguye namuhla nguye nakusasa
Luhlelo ngempela lethi siyakudumisa mxhosi mavembele yakubingelelo yakwemukela nalomuhla egameni lenkosi yethu lengiJesu Kristu lo mhla ke ehlelweni sitawuthatha inyawo sinyukele selapha eTulo esiteki la khona sitawuthola khona libandla leAbundant Grace Ministries la sitakhona thola lona live laNkulunkulu siliphiwa nguye umpostoli mfana sibili okasifunza sibongo ngethe ngositawubuseka sehleti nalo leli bandla akhuluma phasi kwengcikithi lethi ngabe sifika njani ekhaya ezulwini indlela ihamba phi nethemba ukuthi utawulalelisisa nakwendeke ungalo unganalo leqiniso ukuthi kubhekwaphi angachithi isikhathi asivele sibemukele ehlelweni lethi siyakudumisa